Ladies, if you haven't seen that, I have put on another masterclass. Yes, we have another one. You guys have been loving them lately, and I have been adoring putting them on for you guys as just a little bit of a different medium other than just Instagram and the podcast. So with that being said, if you haven't registered for the latest podcast, the latest masterclass, which is called The Blueprint to Feminine Embodiment, I highly recommend that you do. You guys know I'm going to break down all the bullshit that you see on Instagram. I'm going to give it to you really, really real. And obviously, I've been doing this, maybe not obviously, but I have been doing this work for going on 8 years. So I kind of know the truth and the bullshit. And we're going to go into the truth on the masterclass. So the link to register is below, and I hope to see you there. Friends, this topic came up so much over this past weekend of recording this. Well, sorry, that made no sense. Like, you're getting this later than when I'm recording it, right? Because I got to get ahead for obviously the things coming up. And we're about to go to Paris in like 10 days, which is crazy. I just did an Instagram story actually. I'm like, this is why we need men to make the last fucking, have the last say. Because I literally said to my fiance, oh, can we leave early to go to Paris? Like, let's go on this date. Then we have a whole weekend there together. We can like go to Versailles. We could have like a cute, just like us weekend. Like, we haven't had that in a while. Let's just let's have a little us weekend. And he basically said, he came back to me and was like, no, we're leaving on Monday, like planned. And I'm very much like, all right, no worries, because whatever he says, I 100% trust, because I've learned from the past with myself. Not that I don't trust myself. I very much trust myself, but he just is a man. And anyway, I was on a client call today, and I was saying, get me these sales emails by, I was looking at my calendar and I'm like, wait, holy shit. And my stomach just like dropped, like the color of my face dropped, because I realized we are leaving so soon. And if he actually listened to me, thank God he didn't. If he listened to me, we would be leaving next weekend. And I'm like, no. So like, I love like 2 weekends at home is just bliss to me because we travel so much. Anyway, that was a total side note, little like personal thing to just share. But my point is that this past weekend, we had my New York City immersion, and we are about to leave to go to Paris to have my Paris immersion, which I am very excited about. And then the weekend after the Paris immersion, I'm running my certification retreat for my certification students. So lots happening. I need to get ahead. But what came up a lot during the immersion was the whole thing of receiving. And I actually got a DM a few months ago, and I put it down in my notes to then record a podcast on it. And the question was very simple. It was just, why can I not receive? I struggle so much to receive anything I want. So I'm going to go into that today. But what I love about the immersion is, even though I can have kind of the same plan for every immersion, it's always a little bit different. I'm always tweaking things and I'm flowing with it because every group has like a similar theme. And this group had a really big theme around receivership. So I ended up like tweaking a few things. We did some other modalities that I didn't plan on doing, but we ended up doing them because it just kind of was really right in the moment, and it was what they needed. And it was a really beautiful weekend, and I'm still recovering from it. But today, that's not what we're talking about. What we are talking about is receivership. So this is a great episode that men can definitely listen to as well, because it can help them to just understand where where the source of the issue can be for women, because it's not that we don't want to receive. A lot of women do want to receive. And you know what? I'm just going to say you want to receive, because you're probably not listening to this episode if you don't want to receive. You want to receive at greater depths. And it's not just about receiving from your man. It's not just about surrendering into him and relaxing into him. It's also about receiving your manifestations, receiving compliments, receiving love, receiving greater levels of joy. There's so much in life that we can receive. And a lot of us struggle for various reasons, but this episode can be very eye-opening for men as well, because it can help you guys, you gentlemen, to further understand us, to then help support us, because society has kind of set us up, in this modern version of society, we've kind of been set up in a way where sitting back and receiving is looked down upon. I've written down to also do an episode, probably next week's episode will be on the kind of addiction of just constantly needing to achieve and where that comes from. You guys have asked for that a few times, and I was like, Olivia said, you've talked about this before in episodes, but I think you should do a whole episode on it. So I'm going to do that probably next week. But for a lot of us, we grow up feeling like, if I was to let go and just receive, it's admitting some kind of weakness. It's not showing this, I'm an independent woman. And I really want you guys to remember this because I said this to one of you at the immersion this weekend. We were asking, like everyone was asking some really powerful, juicy questions. I love the Q&A around men, receiving from men, letting men lead, trauma around men, changing our actions around them, etc. And I said to one of you and to kind of all of you there, as a result, I said, she was asking about kind of like the line of the independence, the receivership, whatever. And kind of around confidence. I can't even remember exactly what she was asking, but I've said this to you guys before. You need to be in a place, and the healing allows this, where you're in a place where you know that you can do everything yourself, but you don't want to. That is the best place to be in, where it's like, yeah, the validation feels nice from someone else, but you don't need it, right? The compliments feel nice, but you don't need them because you actually feel worthy as you are. The awards feel great, but you don't need them to know that you're doing a good job. And in regards to relationships and men, you know that you can do everything yourself as a woman and as a quote unquote independent woman, but you don't fucking want to. I don't want to carry all the heavy bags. I don't want to drive the car all the time. I don't want to be the one that's protecting and providing the house and not the family. I don't want the house. I do not protect the house. I don't want to be the one carrying all of that. And another theme that was coming up a lot in the room for the immersion as well was the theme of exhaustion. Exhaustion around being a woman, exhaustion around carrying the weight of being a woman these days because society is kind of like feeding us this story that we have to do it all, we have to be it all, we have to be hyper independent, we can't let men lead because then that's a sign of weakness. You know, we need to have a career and be a mother, make all this money, or don't be a mom because if you're just a mom, like keyword just, if you're just a mom, then you are just a mom. Like all these sort of stories that just make us feel fucking exhausted because we are fighting internally with what we want deeply, and what you want is irrelevant to what someone else wants. It's about what you want. But a lot of us are fighting with what we deeply want and then what we think we should want and should have and who we think we should be. So it's this constant like fucking dichotomy within us and this push and pull, which is really, really exhausting. So the exhaustion theme came up a lot as well, where I didn't know where I was fucking going with that. My point is that for a lot of us, we struggle to receive because we are in this constant grind of, you know, being in our hyper masculine, of having this armor around doing it all. Our nervous systems literally don't know how to slow down, how to be, how to relax. We don't know how to receive. Like, put your hand up. Well, I can't see you, but put your hand up if you don't know what receivership actually means. Like, if I said to you right now, just receive, are you like, what the fuck does that mean? Like, what does it mean to receive? And if that's what I leave you with today, thinking about what it means to receive, I've done my job. I want you to think about for yourself, what would it actually look like for you? Not for me, not for somebody else. I'm not going to tell you what receivership is because it really is so unique. But what would receivership look like to you? How would you ideally, what would your dream state of receivership be? Like, how do you want to be in receivership? Because how you want to receive could be different to how I want to receive. But when you're thinking about receivership, don't just think about like, don't pigeonhole yourself in terms of, oh, I'm only receiving in my relationship. Also think about the fact that you're receiving the promotion. Well, can you receive it? Like maybe you can't, right? But you want to be able to, let's say, receive the promotion, receive the next level of your manifestations, receive more money, receive compliments, receive hugs, receive love, receive validation, receive awards. So many of us just blow it off. How many of us, when a friend says you look beautiful, we don't say thank you. We don't receive it, right? We actually are like, no, I look disgusting today. Or like, oh, this old dress, ew. Or, oh my God, no, I didn't sleep at all last night. These bags are just fucking huge. Or, no, I don't. You look gorgeous. We blow it off. We actually don't feel comfortable being seen. So a lot of the receivership stuff around us struggling to receive can also be because we're struggling to be seen. We don't feel safe receiving. We don't feel safe being seen because part of what's involved in receiving is letting down a bit of an armor. Think about it. If you have this like shield around you all the time, when people are like giving you compliments or when someone's trying to do something for you, it kind of bounces off the armor. They can't fully get to you. They can't feel the depths of your gratitude. You can't feel the depths of what it feels like to receive to somebody from somebody, because you're constantly protecting yourself. I can do it myself. I don't need your help. I don't want to be let down by you. I don't want to have expectations and then you know, or standards or whatever you want to call them, and then you let me down on these things. So we shield ourselves off because we're afraid of getting hurt. We're afraid of getting left. We're afraid of getting abandoned. And so when we have this kind of armor around ourselves and are constantly in the state of like masculinity, we're not only not able to receive the compliment because we kind of bounce it off each other, we're also blocking ourselves from the next level in regards to our manifestations because we don't have this receptive, open, magnetic aura about us. We are closed off. We are in hiding. Put your hand up if you feel unsafe to be seen. A lot of us feel safer in our bodies somatically. Like you might cognitively be thinking, no, Monica, I want to be seen. Yeah, you might want to be seen, but wanting something and doing something is two completely different things. So you might want to be seen, you might want to receive, but the actual act of doing it is a completely different situation. And for a lot of women and men too, but right now let's talk about women. For a lot of women, we don't actually feel safe being seen for many different reasons. And so for a lot of us, we create this hiding. We put these different layers of armor around us because we would rather stay in hiding. And eventually this gets very, very exhausting, which can then cause us to have a lot of bitterness and resentment and anger towards ourselves, towards others, towards society, towards feminism, towards all, like we can put all this blame on everybody else. But the only person that we should be blaming, but not in a bad way, I'm saying more like take responsibility for this stuff is ourselves. We are the ones that are responsible for receiving. We are the ones that are responsible for getting ourselves out of hiding, because you're not a child anymore. It's not somebody else's responsibility to make you feel safe to come out of hiding. It's your responsibility to make you feel safe. Obviously, if you're in a romantic relationship, yes, they need to make you feel safe. But what I'm more so saying is the foundational of the foundation of them even being able to make you feel safe is you firstly feeling safe within yourself. Let me say that again. The foundation that will even allow you to feel them making you feel safe is you firstly feeling safe internally for you. It's just like it doesn't matter how much somebody else loves you. If you don't feel worthy of being loved, you will never feel the amount of love that somebody else has for you, right? It's kind of same thing applies and just like a different example. So it's not somebody else's responsibility right now as the starting point to make you feel safe receiving or coming out of hiding and being seen. It's actually your internal safety as an adult. So this internal safety piece is built from boundaries. It's built from you being able to actually speak up and get that frog out of your throat or that closing of your throat that blocks you from speaking your truth. It's you being able to stay regulated in what feels like confrontational situations or scary situations where you have to speak your truth. It's you actually being able to get your nervous system out of that freeze response to be able to speak up. Because for some people, it's all well and good to say, speak your truth, but they actually go into a bit of a freeze response or disassociate or, get super avoidant. So they tell themselves like, I have nothing to say. Like, I don't, like, I'm not angry. I've got nothing to say, nothing in my throat, blah, blah, blah. And it's actually just because that's their own trauma response and protective mechanism. So coming back to why can I not receive? There are many reasons why you quote unquote can't receive, but here's the thing, you can receive. You absolutely can receive. The question is more, do you feel safe to receive? Deep down in your body, do you want to receive? You might want to receive, like telling me that. You're like, yeah, I want to receive. But your body's like, I don't want to fucking receive. Because if I receive this, if I receive the help, I'm now going to be obliged to give them help back in return. They're now going to hang this over my head, for example. It could be that if you were to let go to receive, that could mean that somebody else could control you. It could mean that you have to let go and you have a massive fear of letting go because somebody could hurt you, or because if you're not in control, then bad things could happen to you. It could be you have a fear of somebody else taking advantage of you. So you don't want to receive, you don't want to kind of let down that armor and let somebody in and actually receive them because they could take control of you. It could be because you don't trust yourself, so you don't even know when it's safe to receive from somebody, when it's safe to take your armor off. It could be because you think that letting go into receivership is a sign, is like a, not a sign, but it's like a, if I let go into receivership, I'm letting go of strength. It's weakness to be in receivership. There's so many different reasons. But if we were to go, for example, into the control issues, so like I need to be in control in order to feel safe, and dropping into receivership means that somebody else can control me. That isn't actually the truth of the situation, is it? No. It's your truth though, because potentially in the past, you felt like other people were always controlling you. So there was a day where you said to yourself, I am never, ever, ever letting somebody else ever control me again. I'm never letting my guard down. I'm never opening up my heart. I'm never letting somebody else in because people always let me down. And so you being in control isn't actually you hurting yourself. You being in control is you're trying to protect yourself. You are doing what you're meant to do. You are meant to protect yourself. That is human nature. You are wired to protect yourself and give yourself like the safety that you need. But what we need, what I want you guys to understand is the difference between the illusion of safety and actual safety. So the illusion of safety is when I'm in control, I'm safer. When I don't have people, when I don't let people into my heart, I'm safer. Like that's the illusion of safety. You think that you're safer, it feels safer, but to a point, right? You hit, there is a sensation of quote unquote safety because that is your trauma response where you are self soothing in a sense, but you have an upper limit, right? Or like you have kind of like a, what's the word? Like you basically you have a limit of how much safety you can actually feel in that state. When you get to a state where you are not being controlled at all by your past, but rather really living in a way that is so fulfilling to your body, feels so nourishing, feels so right, feels so in alignment, that is true safety. What actually brings the true sense of safety so that you can then feel safe to let go and receive is being able to have your own back, is the self-trust piece, which I know some of you struggle with. I talked about that a little bit, or maybe a lot, I can't remember, in the intuition episode that I did just recently, a few episodes ago. So trusting yourself helps to bring internal safety and like trusting your intuition. I said boundaries already, or like having your own back, speaking your truth. When we feel like, oh no, I couldn't speak my truth. Oh no, that frog in my throat, that stops me from speaking up. Oh no, I can't say no. Like I literally, like I want to say no, but I can't say no. Oh, I don't trust myself. When we don't have those foundational things, of course we won't feel safe to let go and receive and surrender. Because in order to feel that deep sense of internal safety, we have to have those things. So practice, like if you want to get to a place where you can receive, the answer isn't to just like start to say thank you with compliments. You can definitely start with that though. Like that's not a bad thing to start with at all. But what I'm saying is that isn't going to fix the actual root somatic or visceral response that you might feel it come up in your body when somebody else is wanting you to receive or when you're trying to receive something. What will fix it is what makes is healing what makes you feel unsafe to receive. So you can even just start right now as you're driving in the car or as you're on your walk. I'm going to ask you a question. You can pause and then come back to the episode. Just ask your body the question of what bad things would happen if I let go and receive. And you might make it more specific of let go and receive from the certain person, let go and receive my manifestations. If I, what bad things what would happen if I received more money, because money trauma is very real. Like there is money mindset work. That is amazing. Love it. MMM1, that's what it's for. But there's also money trauma. And money trauma is like the trauma side of money that needs to be dealt with. That's a Queen Alchemy thing. So let me just pause there. What bad things would happen if you actually received? You would be in receivership. Because for a lot of us, the thing that we think is going to happen, that is what holds us back. So if we want to talk about money, let's just like veer off the trauma side of things for a second. so that you guys can understand how interconnected this is. Because truly, when you heal one area of your life, it heals other areas of your life. Everything is so interconnected. And this is why I, like, no matter how much someone tells me, like, I will never just like niche myself in to one specific thing, because my business grew. I added on all these different areas as I went and as I became an expert in all the different areas. But I would, if I would be limiting myself if I just focused on one thing. But more importantly, why I can't do it and like just focus on one particular thing. Let's just say, like, if I was to focus on like being in your feminine, it's not as simple as that. The answer isn't just always like dance around or do some breast massage, right? Because for each different person, there can be other things from other areas of life that are affecting, you being in your feminine. For example, on the topic of money, your money mindset, as in like your shit money mindset, that could be affecting your ability to feel safe in letting go and trusting yourself, because you're in such intense scarcity mindsets all the time, for example. So everything is super interconnected. So when you heal one area, you heal others. So let's go to like receiving more money. If you, for example, think, if I like, and this isn't, you might, as you're listening to this, you might say, or you might be thinking, what came up for me is if I have more money, people are going to take it from me. But you also might be like, I know that isn't true, but that thought came up. Like, I feel that in my body. I have that worry, even though I know it's not true. And this is why the somatic work is important, because like the signals that your brain gets, 80% of them are from your body. So 80% of what you're telling yourself from is not from your brain, it's from your body. So if you ignore the body work, that is like you're ignoring 80% of the solution. Like, the solution is body, but also obviously mind as well, because the mind is 20%, whatever. My point is that if you think the more money I have, the more people are going to take from me, that's obviously going to inhibit you from receiving more money, because you are energetically blocking it, because you're like, I don't want more money, because if I have more money, it's going to be taken from me. I don't feel safe to have more money. So the thing, as an example, what could be underneath all of this is the fact that your mom or dad, let's just say dad, for example, your dad made a heap of money when you were 10 years old, and then he got audited by, like, I don't know, the tax office or something, and a bunch of it got taken away, or he went bankrupt, or, his business ended up not succeeding, or, something like the global financial crisis happened and he lost all of his money. As a child, you might have just interpreted that as, the more money I have, the more I lose. It doesn't matter the intricate details of the situation. You could cognitively know as an adult, well, it makes sense why he lost it for XYZ reasons or whatever it is. But that doesn't matter, the cognitive side of things. Like, that's great, but it's not the problem. The problem is the story that is imprinted in your body from when you were, say, 10 years old. And that is blocking you energetically and, frankly, physically from staying open, like your body being open and your energy being open to then receiving more. So when it comes to the whole topic of manifestation, this is why I say, if you want to make manifestation really, really easy, the easiest way for you to be able to manifest anything that you want in your life and continuously be able to manifest, like, again and again and again and again, next level, next level, next level, the easiest way to do that is to create a beautiful foundation where it's like when you're gardening, the way that your cosmos are going to grow, like, to just like this, the heavens and above, is by having really nutrient dense soil. But a lot of people, they're manifesting on really yucky soil, right? And so nothing is really growing, or things are growing a bit and then they're dying. And it's not because you're not capable of growing beautiful flowers. It's because the foundation isn't actually going to foster the flowers growing again and again and again, year after year after year, and like reseeding themselves and all that kind of stuff. So in terms of you and being a human manifesting, having your dream life, the soil is essentially this foundation of yourself, right? It's like it's your blueprint. It's the foundation of the book, and you are writing the story. Okay. And so what builds, or what creates a really healthy foundation, is you not having all of these stories, wounds, energetic blocks, trauma, closed body, contracted body, all of those sorts of things. So when you heal all of the micro trauma, macro trauma, the wounds, the beliefs, the nervous system dysregulation, the unsafety in your body, the inability to speak your truth, the lack of boundaries, whatever, when you heal all of those things, now you have a really beautiful foundation, right? The foundation is clear, it is solid, it doesn't have a pile of crap in there that's like, basically, we could say all your trauma is like weeds, just like taking away from the cosmos, because like cosmos are beautiful. I'm growing them myself. Anyway, so you have all these weeds in there. We want to rip out all those weeds. We want to replenish the soil. Now you can plant your seeds of manifestation, the cosmos, and those cosmos are fucking blooming. Your manifestations are blooming year after year after year, and you're not having to try, right? Because I'm pretty sure cosmos, if they don't, I've used a really bad example. I'm pretty sure cosmos reseed themselves year after year. Yeah, they're perennials. They're not annuals. They are. So they reseed themselves year after year. So what that means is basically like you don't have to keep planting seeds to like grow the cosmos each fall or whatever. So they bloom in spring. They just do it themselves. My point is that the easiest way to manifest your dream life, coming back to that, we're in a full gardening tangent because I'm obsessed now. The easiest way to manifest your dream life is to do this healing work first, because it is from this place where your body is open, where you can receive, where you feel safe in your nervous system to hold the next level, where you can actually surrender. And if you understand manifestation, a key component of it is surrender. But many people don't feel safe surrendering because of, all the reasons I've gone through today, and there's even more. So you are different to somebody else. And so the reason why somebody else can't receive or can't surrender isn't necessarily your reason. But I do want to urge you to think about why you wouldn't want your dream life, why you wouldn't want to receive, why you wouldn't want to surrender, why you wouldn't want to let go. Because in that is like where the magic lies, in that answer. Even though I know it's like kind of contradictory, it's actually not, because you're figuring out the exact reason why you are blocking yourself from having this next level, why you are blocking yourself from receiving this beautiful man, why you are even blocking yourself from receiving your dream baby, from conceiving. So this is even important for fertility. Seriously, the energy of making a baby is receiving energy, right? Your egg is receiving the sperm. The sperm is like going after that egg. It wants that egg. And the egg is then the one that is actually letting that sperm in. So if I've done a whole episode, which we'll link below, on the energetic reasons for infertility, period issues, PCOS, endometriosis, etc. So if you are struggling to fall pregnant, to conceive, to hold a baby as well, if you're struggling with miscarriages, there obviously can be a physical component. That's very real. If you've been trying all the physical things, as in when I say physical things, I mean like supplements, herbs, nutrition, diet, exercise, sleep, etc. That's like the physical body, right? If you've been trying all those things and nothing is working, and the energetic component is so fucking real, I cannot. You've probably heard me talk about this before. It's in the episode. The amount of babies that have been conceived in my program, Queen Alchemy, is kind of wild at this point. And the amount of babies that have been conceived where these women have tried for years. They've gone to doctors, the doctors can't give them answers, blah, blah, blah. And they conceive in Queen Alchemy, or they conceive with me in my one-on-one container, or whatever it is. It is truly wild. Yes, this also works for IUI, IVF. I've had clients for various reasons that have had to do IUI, for example, and it hasn't been taking. They start working with me. We do, a session on allowing, on receiving, on clearing the blocks that are causing their body to not feel safe to actually receive the baby and to have implantation occur and to become a mother. Boom, not joking. I get a Telegram message the week later being like, holy shit, I ovulated after that session and I fell pregnant. So, and not because of the session I necessarily ovulated, but I'm just using one particular example that happened kind of recently, where it was just the timing of our session. She had ovulation a few days later and it took, and she now has a beautiful baby. So anyway, my point is that receivership isn't just about it isn't just so that you can receive a delicious man. It isn't just so that you can receive more money or receive your dream life. Receivership for us as women is also so that our bodies can be in a state of alignment. Our nervous systems, our yin energy, our hormonal profile, it needs us for full health, mentally, emotionally, physically, energetically, spiritually. We need to be able to soften, to receive, to surrender. And that doesn't mean every single day you need to be like in full yin feminine flow, like dancing around with the flowers, because that's obviously not realistic for a lot of us. But even being able to carve out one day a month, preferably in your luteal phase, one day a month where you really go inwards, where you really are just receiving, where you are fully letting go, where you are surrendering, where you're not doing, but you're actually like taking, not in like a taking greedy way. I mean, taking in terms of somebody's giving you something and you're taking it, you're receiving it rather than pushing it away. Oh, I can do it. Even little things, ladies, like when your partner offers to clean up the kitchen, or when he's like, babe, you relax, you sit down, I'll clean the kitchen after dinner. And you're jumping in there like, no, no, I'll help because you feel guilty receiving. Oh, I haven't got on that. Guilty with receivership. That is a big one too. Women can feel guilty receiving. A lot of us have been programmed where we feel like we have to work to then earn the letting go, earn the receiving, earn like the return, if that makes sense. We don't feel inherently worthy to just receive. Put your hand up if that's you. Can't see you, but just do it anyway. Like, yep, bitch, that's me. The guilty with receivership, we continue to feed into that guilt when we continue to feel guilty receiving. So even this week, when somebody offers to help you, can you receive the help? And notice if that guilt comes up. And obviously, I'm giving you a mindset thing here, not like a somatic thing, because the somatic stuff's in Queen Alchemy. But, or if you're coming to Paris, when does this episode come out? Maybe you'll get this before Paris. Yeah. If you're coming to Paris, we'll obviously do that there as well. But you can start to just even like awareness is the first step. Can you start to just even be aware? Like, wow, that guilt does come up. Like, I actually do feel guilty for just letting go and receiving. And for a lot of us, it is a recoding, it's a reprogramming, it's a new habit that we have to get into of creating safety in our body to let go and receive rather than continuously allowing ourselves to feel guilty, because a lot of us make that normal. We normalize it, we think it's right, we think that's normal, and it's common, right? Just like period issues, it's common, but it's not normal. What's normal is for us to give ourselves as women permission to let go and relax. This comes back to the exhaustion piece. So many of us feel so exhausted. If you feel exhausted by life, by being a modern woman, by having all these things on your shoulders, by doing everything, by carrying everything, by having this masculine armor, like that is exhausting. And by not letting ourselves soften and receive, that is exhausting. If you are exhausted, you're probably also not softening and receiving. And it's not even just receiving from people, it's receiving like from yourself, from the universe. Like even after this episode, I'm on day 4 of my period and I'm still recovering from the immersion, just in terms of like the processing of everybody else's emotion and the obvious energetic capacity that it takes. And I also did the immersion at the very end of my luteal phase. Like I got my period at the very end of the last day. So it was also energetically a lot for me, because it wasn't like I was in my ovulation phase where I was like having more natural energy. It took a lot more for me. And so with that being said, like I'm still recovering. And so even after this episode, it's like in my calendar to go outside and just literally lay in the sun, have a little bit of a nap, do some light work, reply to some emails, but just I'm really nourishing that yin energy and just not even just receiving from my man, like love receiving from him. And he provides and leads so I can receive, but I'm also receiving from nature. I'm also receiving the sun. I'm also receiving my own space, my own time. I'm receiving the beautiful warmth of the bath that I get into. There's so many different ways that our bodies can start to receive when you have the energetic spaciousness and the safety and the relaxation in your nervous system to actually receive. So I'm going to leave it on that one, ladies. Don't forget about the guilt piece. Do you feel guilty? Do you feel worthy? Do you feel enough? Do you feel like you've worked hard enough to receive? Because all of those things are not true. We don't need to work hard enough. We don't need to be quote unquote enough because nothing makes you enough. You just are. We don't need to do anything in order to receive, like in order to be worthy to receive, or in order to just engage in the act of receiving. Receiving is our body's natural state. And we want to foster that for ourselves, for our health, for our vitality, for our mental state, for our creativity, for the polarity in our relationship and our sex life, for our, did I say fertility already? We're going to double up on that one, for our fertility, for our libido, for our cycle, and for just our sense of I am home and safe and one with my body, for that connectedness with our body. To the men that listen to this, or for the ladies passing this on to their men, you can help her to receive by reminding her that it's safe, by reminding her that she doesn't need to feel guilty for receiving, that you actually want to give this. Because for some of us women, we have this wound of if I receive from somebody else, I'm going to have to give. They're going to hang it over my head. So like if you say to her, honey, you sit down. I'm going to clean up the kitchen tonight. Like you rest. She's now, oh, Butter wants to come in. Come, Bubba. She could be worried that you're now going to hang that over her head. And tomorrow night, you're going to say to her, well, I cleaned up the kitchen last night. So can't you clean it up tonight? And it's going to feel like this obligation, this kind of, tally, if you will, of not he said, she said, but like, I did this, so you have to do that. I'm 1 point more than you in terms of the giving and the receiving. So men, you can help us heal from the modern fucking world that has put so much on us and has taken us so far out of alignment because of like radical feminism. You can help us by reminding us that you want us to let go, that you want us to receive, that you find it sexy when we just take the burden off our shoulders and give you that burden. Like tell her, baby, I want to take that burden off you. Like, no, you rest. I'm not hanging this over your head. I want to help you. I want to provide for you. I want to give to you right now by tidying the kitchen for you so that you don't have to do it. For us, it's not even just for her. It's for you as well. It's for the family. It's for the house. Like there are many different ways. I talked about this in the episode of like how men can make women feel safe. There are so many different ways in which you gentlemen can provide and protect her that aren't just about money, your job, and, bringing home the dough. All right. So I'm going to leave it there. Ladies, if you haven't signed up for the new masterclass that I have right now, the blueprint to feminine embodiment, you are going to want to. I'm walking through more of this stuff, really about the deep things that are actually needed so that you can easily step into that feminine embodiment. We're not talking about like dancing and rubbing your tits. We're talking about much deeper things in that, and trauma and the healing and all that kind of stuff. So if you haven't already registered for that, you can register for the masterclass. And this masterclass, even if you're listening to this months later, it'll still be available for you to register. I'm going to keep it like up and active and happening even after like this month is over or whatever. This is the first time I've done a masterclass that's kind of leading into Queen Alchemy, if you will, but I don't ever do one. This is kind of like a new format that I've been trying, and I've been really, really enjoying it. Just like a different way to connect with you guys, and like able to provide way more value than just getting on Instagram lives and kind of like them, not being as digestible for you guys. Anyway, I'm not going to go into the fucking operations back end of why I'm doing this, but my point is that even if you've seen this months later, you can still register for it and get all the value out of it, as well as a few other masterclasses as well that we are keeping up and active, so you guys can still watch them. But I've really been enjoying doing this with you guys and just having this kind of live time in the free content and not just like talking to a screen to myself on a podcast. So I'm leaving you guys with that. Please make sure you register, and also don't forget to join Queen Alchemy if you do want to join. We are having the last round of the year, and the last round where Queen Alchemy is this live and you get this much of me live. If you have no idea what I'm talking about and you need the updates on this round of Queen Alchemy, I put an episode out like 3 episodes ago out. You know what I meant. We're just going to skip over that bit. Talking about this last round of Queen Alchemy in this kind of way. So if you are sitting on the fence, I would listen to that episode, especially if you know that you want to kind of get the most out of me that you can. It's all in there. So I'm not gonna re-explain myself. I will see you guys in the next episode. And if you got a lot out of this one today, I would love for you to share it with me. All right. Bye everyone.